Can I tell you a story about the miller, his son, and the ass? You probably heard this story, and I told this a while back. I actually also wrote an article in Success Magazine about this, but I want to talk to you about this because it has to do with relationships. Now, you wouldn't think that story has to do anything to do with relationships, but it does. So here goes. This episode is brought to you by abrillianttribe.com. Check us out to where I help you grow your business, community, social, team, single agent, or brokerage, or even startup. We got you. Here it is. It starts like this. A miller and his son were taking their ass to sell at market when they passed a group of girls who laughed at how foolish this miller was to have an ass and yet be walking. So the miller put his son on the ass. Further, down the road, they passed some old people who scolded the miller for allowing his young son, to ride when he should be riding himself. So the miller removed his son and mounted the ass himself. Further along the road, they passed some travelers who said that if he wanted to sell the ass, the two of them should carry him, or he'd be exhausted and worthless. So the miller and his son bound the ass's legs to a pole and carried him. When they approached the town, the people laughed at the sight of them. I mean, wouldn't you? I probably would too. Sight of them so loud that the noise frightened the ass, who kicked out and fell off a bridge into the river and drowned. The embarrassed miller and son went home with nothing, save the lesson that you will achieve nothing by trying to please everyone. And that's where my relationship story starts for you. Because I have these, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that I think are really key to relationships. The story, of course, is about achieving nothing when you try to please everyone. And I wrote this here for you. So often we try to connect with people and we do our best to leave a good impression on them. But that's not the right approach. You lose your identity when you try to connect with everyone. Right? A good impression and building a relationship, there's a line. I don't need you to be fake. I need you to be sincere and authentic. Show up as who you are. Be respectful. But don't change who you are at the core just to impress people. Listen, when you show up as you, you're going to attract the right people. And then I think that's the lesson for me in transitioning to these 6 things. Now, I've outlined 6 keys to creating successful relationships. And I've built these from my own experience. All right, here it is. I took some time to outline the following points in what I thought would be a progressive order. And so these are in order on purpose. Number 1, the right energy. That's number 1, the right energy. Most great conversations start with the right energy. Even Nikola Tesla said something about how important energy is. If you wish to understand the universe, think of energy, frequency, and vibration. And I would apply that to relationships too. You know, sometimes when you vibe with somebody, you're like, damn, there's something about this. It's energy, right? It's a vibration. It's a frequency. This is where it all starts. Energy matters, and people can sense the lack of energy you bring to the table. You can either leave someone feeling like they need to have you around, or you can leave them feeling like they could be great without you. They shouldn't even be with you. In fact, you were a bore. You were just not somebody they wanted to connect with. So, number 1, the right energy. Number 2, which jumps into this, progressively. Remember that, progressively. Vulnerability. The right energy can lead to people opening up more in conversation. And I certainly have had this happen over the years. This is probably the number 1 for me. I don't usually start with the right energy. I'm usually calm energy, right? I don't have it like up here and I don't have it down below. This calm energy for me allows me to then be vulnerable so that people can connect with me quickly, right? They don't feel intimidated. It's like, Oh yeah, Tristan's sharing some information. As you build relationships, you'll see here I put as you build relationships, the amount of vulnerability involved by both parties will increase as trust increases. Vulnerability allows people to connect deeper because a strong sense of trust happens when both parties begin to see that there's nothing to hide. But it starts with one party opening up more. Vulnerability is a strength in any relationship. So this is like a relationship with your past clients, with your sphere, with your audience online, with a listing that you're going to, with a buyer that you're working with. The point is, people begin to trust you when they know that you're real and you show up as you, right? And so that's why that first story, it's like, wait a second, you're trying to please everybody? You're going to end up not winning anybody at all. Right? Number 3, empathy. As you begin to open up, then the next progression is empathy. When you truly open up, right? When you truly open up, listen in, and care about people, you begin to understand that other people are involved here. And I think sometimes we forget that there are other people around us that are important. Just shut up and listen. Here's what I have for this one. I said, have you ever gotten goosebumps talking to somebody? Have you ever teared up when someone is talking to you about something that's meaningful to them or something that impacts you because it impacted them? Like, that's what I'm talking about. That's empathy, right? You can feel their emotion. You have to connect at that level, and that requires empathy. Here's how I end this one. People can sense when you truly care, and that's when a deeper connection happens, because people, I've said this to you many times, people don't really care about you and what you have to offer and who you are and what you do until you know you can help them, until they know that you care about them, right? That is the key. Listen, this is part 1. I've got 4, 5, and 6 for tomorrow, and a conclusion for you. Kind of wrapping it all up, I think relationships are extremely important to our business, and nobody comes in and says, hey, this is how you build strong relationships with the people that you want to connect to, both physically, like in person, right? Person to person, belly to belly, or in a virtual world. People just need to trust you, and you need to stop showing up as some fake person. Anyway, part 1 tomorrow. Let's talk about the next part to this. Have an awesome day.